Yo, what is up? This is Fantasy Fling with dfsarmy. Week 8 NFL. First look draft on the Underdog Fantasy platform, the Battle Royale, Week 8. We are going to hop into it. Going to get a first look at the slate. Actually have not done any of these yet this week, so it is a true first look at the slate. And, we'll look at games that we want to target, player matchups that we want to target, and ADPs, some potential leverage spots to leverage the field. So let's kind of jump into it now. Now, there is one game environment that really is, standing out to me. There's a couple. I think everyone's going to flock to Denver and Dallas. And, I think that this game actually has a high range of outcomes. One of them is that Denver really gets to Dak, and they shut down Patrick Surtain, shuts down Lamb long enough that the pass rush can get there, and this game does not actually end up as high scoring as people think. That's certainly one of the scenarios. There also is the other scenario where Dak has time to throw and he lights Denver up. I'm not sure it's going to be a big CeeDee Lamb game, but Pickens can definitely beat Denver. Ferguson, we got Javonte Williams in a revenge game against Denver. So I think there's a lot of ways this game can go. One of them being high scoring, as Vegas has dubbed this. But if I'm personally looking for a game environment that I think is less likely to fail this week, I really think it's going to be Baltimore and Chicago. Baltimore needs this game so badly. They're 1-5. Lamar Jackson is, expected to return from the hamstring injury. So I expect to get a really good, showing from Baltimore here. They have the 28.5 implied team total. They're giving up a lot of points defensively. We'll see how healthy they can get in this game, specifically in the secondary. But yeah, they've been giving up a lot of points. So this game does have potential shootout potential. And then, they are looking to be healthy offensively. So I'm expecting the best showing from Lamar and company in this game. Derrick Henry is in a great spot. Matchup wise, it's the second best run matchup. One of the best ones on the slate for sure. And, they're big favorites, and they got a 28.5 implied team total. So I'm interested to look at paid ADPs. I love Lamar this week. I love Henry. Also think it's a good spot for, guys like Zay Flowers, who maybe the field's going to be overlooking because, we haven't seen it from him. I like the tight end spot here. So, Andrews and Likely are going to be in play. I think there's definitely some ways to get different, get unique, get weird with it. On the Baltimore side here. So I like this game environment, and of course you can game stack it up as well. But my preference would actually be this one on the slate, and then second would be Dallas and Denver. So I'm just interested to see ADPs in this game. Now, we got Denver and Dallas, Chicago and Baltimore. Third one, Tennessee and Indianapolis. Now, this is one of those games where I very much think it's going to be lopsided. Tennessee has been terrible, terrible. And Indy has been one of the surprise teams in the league, one of the best teams in the league this year, arguably the best team on both sides of the ball. And partly because they've done it on the legs of Jonathan Taylor, who has just been sensational. But even then, Daniel Jones has been money. The things that Shane Steichen has asked him to do, he has done them. So 30.5 implied team total. I don't think you need to do game stacks. I don't think you need to bring it back. I am definitely good running JT out here. I'm good, just maybe Daniel Jones to Tyler Warren to Michael Pittman. If we get healthy downs this week, I am looking to play the Indy side of this game. Now, a couple other spots. We got Buffalo going against a backup quarterback here in Andy Dalton. Buffalo's lost 2 straight. They need to win. They need to get back on track. The Chiefs are coming, and they're losing their positioning in the AFC. So this is a good spot for Buffalo. Carolina, not an elite defense by any means, and it doesn't really matter because when Josh Allen is at his best, he could beat an elite matchup. So I like this spot. Josh Allen's in play. You can always run him naked. In fact, I almost prefer it. I don't think you need to stack him. Is Kincaid going to play? I don't think so. I don't know. But if he doesn't play, you could get maybe value Dawson Knox in a pretty good matchup. James Cook is in play. If you are stacking Josh Allen, it's going to be Khalil Shakir or Keon Coleman preferably, but I would just be more interested in running him naked. That's something that wins a lot in battle royales, and he's the type of quarterback that it makes the most sense not to force a stack. And then we have a couple more game environments. Tampa Bay, this one is a good matchup. However, they're going to be without Evans and Godwin. So this is one of those matchups where if you do play Baker in a bounce back spot, I'm stacking him up with Egbuka. Egbuka could potentially be a core for me in this spot this week. DFS Army subscribers will have to check my cheat sheet between now and when I drop it on Thursday. Do a little bit more evaluation of that. But as of right now, I think Egbuka is going to be a really strong play, going to get a ton of volume. And then, without Evans, potentially we can get some Otten, some Tez Johnson. I don't know if I want to chase that, but he's definitely going to be in play as well. And guys, if you are here and you like these first look drafts, these breakdowns, let me know. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And let me know who you like this week in the Battle Royale. So a couple other spots. Philly, they look to have got it together last week going against the Giants. They lost to them 2 weeks ago. So pretty crazy to play a team twice in 3 weeks. That's how these divisional games go sometimes. They have a 25.5 implied team total. They're looking to get some vengeance. Definitely not looking to get swept by a 2-4 team. So I think they maybe found some things on offense last week. Finally got it going through the passing game. This is another spot that sets up really well for them. Well, actually third best passing matchup on the slate. So I like Hurts. You can always just, run Hurts naked, but I do like stacking him up with A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith in Battle Royales because this, is a spot that actually sets up really well for the receivers. So that's always something, I want to try to stack up. I prefer stacking more times than not, but in certain scenarios, it is plus expected value to just not stack. But, if let's say I do 10 Battle Royale drafts and, I go in those 10 drafts and I'm targeting Eagles stacks, I'm targeting Eagles players. I may do a few of those unstacked, but probably, 7 of them are going to be, Hurts to Devonta Smith and to A.J. Brown. And that's just something that I found looking at past winners. There are instances where, it's definitely good to not force the stack, but keep that in mind. If you don't force the stack, the secondary correlation is something you really need to think about. So maybe I go in with a Jalen Hurts naked build, but I'm able to get like Javonte Williams and George Pickens from that Dallas and Denver game, or I get Javonte Williams and Cortland Sutton right from that game. So just keep that in mind. Last, really good spot for Bijan, specifically going against Miami. Miami's been a team that you want to target. So I love this spot for Bijan, but with a high implied team total and a team that's just been bad defensively across the board, you certainly could play Penix like to London stacks as a way to get different. We'll see what ADPs are doing in these drafts. And, because I didn't get into one of these earlier, it's going to be hard to. All right, we got enough time. Perfect. Waiting for 4 people. So I was going to say it's going to be hard to look at ADPs because in the past I had done some drafts, so I'd go into swap rankings and it show ADPs, but in this case I haven't. So we got Bijan coming top off the board. This makes total sense for me. I think he's a core play for me. I already dubbed him as a core play. Another core play, I think, Derrick Henry going against Chicago. That's a guy I'm going to be hammering in the second round for sure at that ADP. Jonathan Taylor going against Tennessee. Yeah, I think if I'm picking in the top 3, and have my choice, or definitely in the top 2, I'm happy with either of these guys. On the top 3, I have my choice between any of these guys. I'm definitely hammering Jonathan Taylor and Bijan as much as possible. Chase, this maybe this is a fade spot. Maybe recency bias. They had a good game last week. Now he's going against Sauce, who's been good. Will Chase still have a good game? Yes. Will it be the best game, one of the best games on the slate? I don't know. I would say both of these guys, both of these wide receivers, I'm willing to take a stand and not pick them this week because of the tough quarterback matchup, Sauce Gardner and Patrick Surtain, and maybe go to George Pickens, he's going to get Riley Moss of Denver, right? Maybe go to this secondary wide receiver in those offenses if you like that game environment, which definitely we do with Dallas and Denver. So it looks like I am picking 5th. There's going to be no Bijan or Jonathan Taylor for me. So what do I do here? Will Christian McCaffrey be there? Probably not. I think maybe I'll take James Cook. That would be a good spot. Or Drake London, Derrick Henry. I could maybe get both of these guys here. I don't know. 2 running backs. I wouldn't be opposed to a 2 running back start. And then we could, we could look to get Pickens. We could look to get, the Denver wide receivers and target that game. Where's Lamar going? People I think are worried that Lamar's not going to play this week. Everything I saw from him is that he probably will play. So let's queue up some players potentially that we could look to target. Devin Achon, I don't love him in this spot. Just on a bad team. On Underdog, he doesn't. The PPR scam isn't as good as it is on DraftKings at full PPR format. So Bijan went first. That's no surprise. I expect JT to go second here, but maybe Christian McCaffrey. Ibuka, like I said, he could be a core for me. He's another player that I want to get a lot of. So, wow, Bijan, Christian McCaffrey, I'm almost certain that we'll get Jonathan Taylor off the board here. And I will have my pick of either one of these wide receivers, but I don't want either of them. I think in this spot, I'll just take James Cook. That's a scenario that, typically favors the running back anytime you got a team is a heavy favorite. James Cook is 8 in these spots a lot where, it's not projected to be a very, back and forth game. All right, let's take Derrick Henry here. Let's get our running backs figured out. We'll take a look at the board here. Here goes Josh Allen. So, probably not doing a Lamar stack now. So I have to think, will we be able to get Dak? Will we be able to get Bo? I'm pretty sure, it's set up that way. Bo is actually ahead of Dak. Okay. I could go for either of those. That could be a game that we could stack up pretty easily. There goes Ibuka. Yeah, I knew, I kind of had to pick him there because he wasn't going to make it back to me. Some of these drafts, I definitely will be nailing Ibuka in this spot as opposed to, starting double running back there with Derrick Henry and James Cook. This guy's setting up Stavinsky here, setting up an Atlanta stack with Bijan, Drake London. Okay, there goes Jalen Hurts stacked up with Barkley for C-Money Mitts. This guy's got JT and Ibuka start with A.J. Brown. Okay. Josh Allen, Cortland Sutton. So Cortland Sutton will not be there for me. Do I take Lamar at 16? I don't know that I will. Tough decisions. Roma Dunze. I like a Dunze there because that is a secondary correlation with Baltimore, with Derrick Henry. So Pickens, I could maybe take Pickens. I think I'm going to take Pickens right here. And then that allows me to stack that game up. I don't think Ferguson will be there, but I would take him if he came back. But that allows me to stack this game up. Like I said, with Patrick Surtain probably going to be on Lamb a lot, I think that will push a lot of the plays to George Pickens. I love that spot because I can potentially stack with Dak, or I can have a Knicks stack with a Pickens bring back. And one thing I could do with Knicks is I could just take the best tight end on the board, or I could stack Knicks up with Evan Ingram, which I would love as well because it's actually a pretty good spot this week for Evan Ingram. They've been getting him more involved. So let's see how this kind of shakes out. There goes Bo. So I'm not getting Bo. And it looks like Dak will make it back to me, which is perfectly fine. Could I double stack Dak with Ferguson? Will Fergie make it back? I got to say, I don't think he will. So let's look at some other tight ends. Kyle Pitts is in a good spot. I would say Kyle Pitts. Wouldn't be opposed to that. There goes Fergie. He definitely was not making it back to me. So let's go ahead and queue up. Let's take Dak here. So I got my Dak to Pickens. And let's see. Kyle Pitts, 10 targets last week. It's a good spot for Pitts. Evan Ingram. Okay, Evan Ingram, 8, 6, 6, 7 targets. It's a good spot. You know what? I'm going to go a little off the board here and take Evan Ingram. I don't expect many people to be on him this week. So that is my scroll down play, to make this lineup unique. I got Dak to George Pickens and Evan Ingram. I'm guessing very few drafts will have that combination. I also got James Cook and Derrick Henry and Odunze. So, how many players will draft that stack and then, also have the combination of James Cook, Henry, and Odunze? I'm guessing it will be unique. So I like this draft for me. It's a first look draft. Let's if you want to stick around, I'll go through some of our, early ranks of these players. We have, we could just kind of look at this. This is, of course, DFS Army's domination station. And we haven't put our projections in here yet. This is typically, just our providers' projections. And then we start to put our projections in. And then we put in the prop projections. That's what the prop markets are telling you, which is the best projections that you could possibly use as sharp bettors are moving these lines and these are adjusting. And then, we get ownership. And of course, this is for FanDuel, which uses half PPR like Underdog. So that's why I'm using it. But yeah, it has Lamar Jackson with the top projection on the slate. So I really think he's kind of being undervalued right now in the field. Is sleeping on him. And I'll definitely be looking to get some Lamar drafts in. But yeah, the field is sleeping on him because they're, not sure he's going to play yet. And, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, these guys all project better out than any of the top players at other positions, running backs and whatnot. But let's see where the projections go for the running back. So Saquon first overall. And yeah, this is something that, like I said, these are provider projections. Once we have ours in here, I'm guessing we will have Bijan higher and, JT, right, higher than Saquon. But Saquon projected really well this week against the Giants. It makes sense. It's actually a pretty good rushing matchup. So I totally understand that projection. And he might be undervalued right now. Maybe Saquon's a guy to target this week. But Bijan, Henry, Christian McCaffrey, all in great spots. Of course, Jonathan Taylor up there. James Cook, who we took in our draft. At wide receiver, Chase and Lamb, they're always going to project really high, of course. Nico Collins, is he going to play? I'm not sure. A.J. Brown, we like A.J. Brown in that spot as we had kind of identified. Drake London against a poor Miami team. T. Higgins probably going to be the guy that you'd want over maybe Chase this week. And when we did our draft, where did T. Higgins go? So you could see here, T. Higgins not drafted, Chase drafted in the first round. That's some great leverage. T. Higgins would probably make my sheet, of course, for the DFS Army subscribers, my Battle Royale cheat sheet. DJ Moore, pretty good spot, projected high. He's not getting drafted either. I took a Dunze, no DJ Moore. We talked about Flowers. He's going late. So really like the wide receivers this week. Waiting at wide receiver, that's definitely something I think we will be doing. Kittle projecting as the top tight end. And Njoku, if he plays, good projection. Ferguson, this is one where I don't agree. I think Ferguson needs to be higher behind Kittle. Ingram, Ingram had a pretty good projection, so I'm glad we took him for that correlation as well. And Andrews, really good spot for Andrews this week. So decent first look draft. Appreciate y'all joining me for another one. And by the way, guys, NBA is here. So, we DFS Army team, Josiah, beat up and the other guys, they crush NBA. And right now we have a flash sale going. So NBA flash to take 25% off a NBA DFS subscription. And this is just like a special promo, for the kickoff of NBA. So this is not going to last long. And I believe you can get full VIP with this for 25% off. So use that promo code. I will put the links to sign up in the video description, but that's going to wrap it up for this week, guys. Best of luck in Battle Royales, helmets to the top. We'll see y'all next week.